And he's going for the scratch. Yep. You getting ready for the camera, Dougal? For my recent Q&A with Dan Trudgeon, I was asked a question by John and Dawn Colson, and it's a question I'm asked very often, and that is, why did I buy an Airstream? It all started in the early part of the 2000s when I was at the Caravan show in Earl's Court in London, and the Caravan Club, as a I think perception exercise, had an Airstream on its stand. It was the first time I'd ever seen one in the flesh in real life, and it absolutely blew my socks off. To me, it was the absolute bee's knees, cat's whiskers, the dog's chops. I couldn't wait till they started producing that for the UK market. That happened in 2006, and I was writing for caravan magazines then and reviewing caravans, and I was lucky enough to take one of the first production European Airstreams on a road trip, a bit of a proving tour. And when I took that round Wales, absolutely fell in love with it. The only thing that I didn't fall in love with was the price tag. There was absolutely no way I could have afforded to buy one. However, I'm also a huge believer that if you truly want something and you're prepared to work and sacrifice and do whatever you can, you will eventually make that dream a reality. And that's exactly what I did. For the next 2 years, I scrimped, saved, and I made a purchase of a beach house on the south coast of England. The idea was that I could live in the Airstream during the summer and rent out the beach house to holidaymakers, and that would pay for the Airstream, and then I could just live there in the winter when no one wanted to rent it out. So that's what I did. I put all my time, effort, energy, resources into buying this beach house, setting up this holiday rental business, and it was the only way really I could afford a beautiful house on the beach on the south coast, and B, a beautiful Airstream, and I made that Airstream a reality in 2008. But why an Airstream? What was it about that Airstream at the Earl's Court show that really grabbed my attention? And I think the main thing for me has got to be the design. It's the fantastic combination of both retro and futuristic at the same time. That really caught my eye, and I still love it. The next reason that I went for the Airstream is the construction of the Airstream. Now, Airstreams have been built the same way for about 80 years now, with an aluminium frame, not wooden, and then aluminium cladding both sides with insulation between. Tried, tested, proven. Because of that, an Airstream has this fantastic longevity. The figures are something between 60 and 70% of all Airstreams ever built over the past 80 years are still on the road, which no other caravan manufacturer can claim. For me, it really is a case of buy decent, buy once, and that's exactly what I believe in. I just like to have one really nice thing and keep it, rather than just keep replacing things that I'm okay with but don't really love every few years. And because of this, they hold their value. And what is great is that where I bought my Airstream years ago, it's still worth pretty much the same as what I paid for it. Whereas before, I was wearing out caravans every 3 years, I was replacing them every 3 years, and I was losing about £6,000 every 3 years on replacing my caravan. I've had my Airstream now 9 years, I haven't lost any money on it. So in effect, it's free. but you just have that big purchase price to pay. So I love that. Buy decent, buy once. It epitomizes that. That I really like. Another reason I love my Airstream is because it challenges people's perceptions. Now, I'm not really talking about people who are watching this now who are already caravanners or motorhomers, but I mean people who generally don't know much about touring, about caravans, RVs, motorhomes, and they generally have this preconception, oh, it's boring, their caravans are dull, they're cold, and then they see an Airstream and they go, oh, well, not that one, that's different. Well, it's not different, it's just looks slightly different to other caravans, but it's still a caravan. I love the fact that when I'm towing it on the road, outside campsites, people look and it makes them think, oh, I'd like to do that. I think Airstreams are great ambassadorial vehicles to bring people in to caravanning and motor caravanning to enjoy the pastime that we all enjoy. It makes people look who don't otherwise think about caravanning at our hobby. So I think that is great. But are there any downsides? And I would say there are two main downsides with an Airstream. Number one is that high purchase price. I've already said about the fact that it does hold that price, but you've got to find that money in the first place, and that is not easy. And the second thing I find a downside with owning an Airstream is the fact that a lot of people, both caravanners and non-caravanners, will prejudge you on your vehicle. And I hate that, because they know nothing about you, but they have these preconceived ideas that, oh, you've got more money than sense and you've bought this to be flashy. Well, I've just explained to you why I've bought it, and I've also explained to you that in effect it's free. I'll give you an example. I turned up at Warwick Caravan Club site a little while ago, and as I got out the car, a gentleman was looking with his wife and said very loudly, so I could hear, oh, well, he's obviously a very affluent gentleman then. And I thought, how dare you? You're probably going to go home to your £300,000 house. My £37,000 house is on the back of my truck. That's it. Yet you have the audacity to say what you just said. I hate that. And another problem I find is that a lot of people will not respect the fact it's my home. They won't respect my privacy because they think, because I've got an Airstream, they will just look in through the, I mean, people have done that through the windows. I've had a camera lens through my washroom window in a motorway service area when I was using the toilet. Sometimes you can be talking outside, the door will be open and people say, oh, I've always wanted to look at one of these, and they will just look in. They will just come through, put their head around the door or even come in, and I think, that's my home. You would never do that generally to someone's home or even to someone's caravan. So that I find is a bit of a downside, but it's something that I'm happy to live with, to have an Airstream. So finally, just to wrap up, I would say the most important thing with buying a caravan, motorhome, holiday home, anything like that, it doesn't matter if it's an Airstream, if it's a Sprite, if it's a VW camper, to me, buying a leisure vehicle is an emotional purchase as much as it is a rational process. I think the most important thing about any caravan or motorhome you buy is that it has got to put a smile on your face. That's all. It's got to be a happy space, a place you want to be, a vehicle that you look at and you're in and you think, I love this. This is wonderful. This is special. This is my place. I love it. Now, it could be the tweeiest, fanciest, most chintzy country cottage interior in the world, or it could be the most streamlined, modernist, minimalist space. But as long as it makes you happy, to me, that is the most important thing. And I have to say, 9 years on, I still look at this Airstream and I can't help but smile because I absolutely love it. So there you have it. That is why I went for an Airstream. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you don't already. If you didn't enjoy it, please tell me why. Just leaves me to say, thanks for tuning in.